My name is Barbara Gibbons. I am 44 years old. I've been in New York for about, I'm going on my 5th year here in New York, and I'm a teacher. And I am in a relationship that I'm growing to learn how to be committed. I had this whole period of my life where I didn't accept myself, so I hid it because I came from a very religious family. My grandmother was an evangelist, and my mother and my parents were very, very religious. And so, I tended to hide it, all my life. And even now I'm still dealing with the idea of uncovering, who I am sexually and being proud of that fact, because, it was so indoctrinated to us that, we were in sin, we're going to die and go to hell, just all those stigmas that are associated with being gay. That's one of the reasons that encouraged me to come to this project and to, to expose myself where in the past I would never have done something like this and never even considered doing anything like this. I just never, ever wanted my family to find out. And I just never, didn't like myself as far as who I was sexually. I knew I had all these other talents and gifts. People had always told me all my life, but it was the issue of me being gay that I had to try to keep secret. My whole wanderlust has been leave Florida. I went to Georgia for graduate school, then moved to DC, and now I'm in New York. So it's just like, run far away as I can from them so they won't ever find out who I am. So this is really a new type of level for me, to sit in front of people that I don't know and talk about my sexuality. It's really, really empowering, and only recently, New York tends to bring those kind of things out, because here you really have to be real, you can be fake for so long, and people pretty much know or seen somebody, know somebody, relate to somebody. It's just like me. So it's just like, why would I hide? And I'm 44 years old. Why lie about who I am? And of course, there's still this issue, this hidden issue with me, between me and my family. I never, had the conversation, but I'm 44 years old. I'm a male, don't have a wife, don't have any kids. So of course they know something, but it's the whole issue of me telling them. That's the level that I need to get to. It's going to be a hard process, no matter, how I look at it. There are cuts on me, and, it's the issue of that deep, deep self-hate. First of all, I have to have a conversation about me, If I didn't have to have the conversation about me first, and then I can talk about who I've been in a relationship with for the last 3 years. And on top of the fact he's not black. That's going to be a big step, having that conversation with my mother and my father and my sisters and my brothers. And then, the whole issue of I'm in a relationship, a committed relationship that I've been in for 3 years. That I think that I've learned how to sneak and hide so long. But I know I need to have that conversation. At least my mother and father, And then I think that whether they're hurt or not, then they can know who I am finally after 44 years on earth. But they don't really know who I am, because it's always been sneaking to the club in Miami, sneaking to the club in Fort Lauderdale, sneaking out to meet a boy, sneaking out to do this. In Florida, of course, it's southern, it's not the south that we think about. But I grew up in a little small community, so when I was growing up, there was me and one other person. We were the only people that I knew of that was gay in my neighborhood. So we were best friends until he passed away maybe 10 years ago. And here in New York, there are more people, and even when I lived in DC, there are a large community of black gay men. In Atlanta, I went to school in Atlanta, a large black. So in those cities that I pretty much migrated to, there were a large community of people like me. But the majority of the people that I connected to were going through the same thing I went through, and that's the denial, that's the hidden secrecy, that's the abuse, whether it's mental, emotional, drug, or the whole secrecy behind the family, just this terrible relationship with their families about who they were. talented, wonderful, degree educated, but still that whole level that they could not share who they was with their family. I'm the oldest of 5, so I have a brother, you know, and I have 3 sisters. And they're very well educated. They've been places and done things, and they have friends, and they know people, and they've heard stuff. So now I'm getting to the point where I can just be myself around them instead of, you know, like when I go home for the holidays, instead of being, you know, all private and secret. You know, some of them are married, some of them have children, they have boyfriends, they have girlfriends, and they've always shared their relationships with each other and me. But I have never been one-to-one, and you know, since I was the oldest, I had a little more, I guess I had a little more control over the situation. You know, that I controlled a lot of that. But as we got older, I lost a lot of control as I moved far away. I don't know if it's from fear of what I might say, or just the simple that I'm that big brother, and the respect that they just think that it might hurt me to say. But they've never asked me my sexuality, and I've never said it to them.